Hi, good day my dear learners, and once again welcome to Math TV Lessons channel. By the way, my name is Giovanni Esconde and I am your teacher in math today. Our lesson for today is all about solving non-routine and routine problems involving multiplication of fractions and whole number. Are you excited to learn? So let's go. Our topic today is solving routine and non-routine problems involving multiplication without or with addition and subtraction of fractions and whole numbers using appropriate problem-solving strategies and tools. We can categorize problem solving into two basic types, routine and non-routine. The purposes and the strategies used for solving problems are different for each type. To solve routine problems, this first one, understand. Know what is asked and what are given. Number 2, plan. Know what strategy can we use to solve the problem, what operation will be used, and write the number sentence for the problem. Number 3, solve. Write the correct units or label your answer. And last one, check and look back. Review and check your answer. To solve non-routine problems, read and analyze the problem carefully. Tell what is asked and what are given. Use other strategies like act out the problem, table method, drawing, or making a diagram to solve. In this lesson, you will be able to distinguish appropriate steps or strategies in solving routine and non-routine problems involving multiplication without or with addition or subtraction of fractions and whole numbers. You will be able to solve word problem using a variety of steps and strategies. And you will be able to show willingness in doing work activities. In solving word problems, what do you think are the steps to be followed in doing it? How good are you in solving problems? What are the important points to consider in solving word problem? Let's have problem number 1. Jonathan harvested 8 kilograms of guavas from the garden. He gave 3/4 of it to his sister Mary. How many kilograms of guavas did he share to his sister Mary? This problem is a routine type of problem. You can follow the following steps. Number 1, understand. Number 2, plan. Number 3, solve. And the last one is check and look back. We have to do the first step first. Know what is asked in the problem. Let's go back from the problem. So, the number of kilograms of guavas Jonathan shared to his sister. That is what is asked in the problem. And then, you have to know the given facts. What are the given facts? We have 8 kilograms of guavas and 3/4 parts shared to his sister. So we are now done in step number 1, which is understanding or understand. Now let's proceed to the step number 2, which is plan. Since you already have the given facts, you are now ready to find the operation to be used. In this kind of problem, we can say that this is multiplication. In order for us to know a number of guavas did he share to his sister Mary, we need to multiply. Okay, so we are going to write the number sentence for the problem, that is 8 times 3/4 equals n. What is n here? N here is your product or the answer of multiplication, or this is the unknown number that we need to find. Okay, so we already done with the step number 2. So let's proceed to step number 3, which is solve. This time we are going to solve because we already have the number sentence for the problem. So 8 times 3/4 equals n. Let's go back from our previous lesson about multiplication of fractions and whole numbers. So here we can apply what we have learned. So 8 times 3/4 equals n. As we have observed, there is a whole number and a fraction. In order to multiply the whole number and a fraction, make sure that your whole number will be converted into fraction. How will you convert your whole number into a fraction? You will just simply over it with 1. So 8 over 1 times 3 over 4. So this time, we can now identify the numerators and the denominators. Let's go back to the rule in multiplying fractions. We have to multiply the numerators and we also need to multiply the denominators. So first, we have the numerators. 8 times 3 is 24. And your denominators, we have 1 and 4. So 1 times 4 is 4. Is that your final answer? No. We can still reduce it to lowest term, or we can still simplify it. Because 24 over 4 is an improper fraction. So we can simplify it by dividing the numerator by your denominator. So 24 divided by 4. 24 divided by 4 is 6 without remainder. So your answer here is 6. And your final answer is Jonathan shared 6 kilograms of guavas to his sister. And the last step is check and look back. We are going to check if our answer is correct. And be sure that your answer is reasonable. Let's have problem number 2. Jose buys 12 marbles on Monday and 13 marbles on Tuesday. On Wednesday, he gives 2/5 of his marbles to his friend. How many marbles does he give to his friend? This kind of problem is a non-routine type of problem in which the problem involves more than one operations, and you have to find different strategies in order to solve the problem. In this problem, you need to figure out that you need to add and multiply. Let's find out using this strategy. Okay, we have to know what is asked in the problem. So the number of marbles Jose gave to his friend. And you have to consider also the given facts. We have 12 marbles Jose buys on Monday, 13 on Tuesday, and 2/5 part he gave to his friend. So this time you have to plan. We are going to make a diagram or a drawing. Okay, so you add the marbles that Jose buys on Monday and Tuesday. That is 12 marbles plus 13 marbles equals 25 marbles. So you can draw 25 marbles and divide the marbles into 5 groups. There will be 5 marbles per group. So circle the 2 parts of it to show 2/5. So each group show 1/5 of or 5 marbles. So there are 2 groups of 1/5 and these show 2/5. So 5 times 2 equals 10. So there are 10 marbles. Let's us check and look back. So 12 plus 13 times 2/5 equals n. So 12 plus 13 is 25 times 2/5. So let's have to multiply 25 and 2. So 25 times 2 is 50. And 1 times 5 is 5. Simplify. 50 divided by 5 is 10. So your final answer is Jose gave 10 marbles to his friends. Okay, we are done with our examples, so I want you to answer the following problems. I will give you a few minutes to answer this one, and while you are answering, I want to play a video about multiplication of fractions. Take your time.
Ever multiply by a fraction, the number gets smaller, that's no exaggeration. So just think when you try and have a go that you're asking, what's a small part of the whole? So multiply the numbers on the top side together. Whatever the solution, it becomes the numerator. Now multiply the numbers on the bottom side together, and the answer that we get is now the new denominator. If you ever multiply by a fraction, the number gets smaller, that's no exaggeration. So just think when you try and have a go that you're asking, what's a small part of the whole? So multiply the numbers on the top side together. Whatever the solution, it becomes a numerator. Now multiply the numbers on the bottom side together, and the answer that we get is now the new denominator. So let's take a simple one to start with. Here is 1/3 multiplied by 1/5. Now if you think about the question we're asking, it's like saying, what's the third part of this fifth? So we could try and cut it into 3 bits, cause it's only gonna be a small part of the fifth. But there's a better way, let me remind you what it is. Remembering the chorus is the trick to solving this. So multiply the numbers on the top side together. Whatever the solution, it becomes the numerator. And now we know the task that needs to be done. We got 1 times 1, which is equal to 1. Now multiply the numbers on the bottom side together. The answer that we get is now the new denominator. So 3 times 5 has become 15, which means the final answer must be a 15th. If you ever multiply by a fraction, the number gets smaller, that's no exaggeration. So just think when you try and have a go that you're asking, what's a small part of the whole? So multiply the numbers on the top side together. Whatever the solution, it becomes the numerator. Now multiply the numbers on the bottom side together, and the answer that we get is now the new denominator. Now for whole numbers with a fraction as well, let's try 1/3 multiplied by a 12. And if you think you need another way to delve, it's like saying what's a third part of the 12? So we could cut it up and see the answers ourselves. Plus we know the answer's got to be smaller than 12. It ain't hard to tell, but there's a trick to remember. If you ever need a fraction, put a 1 under the number now. Multiply the numbers on the top side together. Whatever the solution, it becomes a numerator. And now I know that you can cater for yourself. If it's 1 times 12, it's equal to 12. Now multiply the numbers on the bottom side together. The answer that we get is now the new denominator. So 3 times 1 becomes 3 before. We have 12 over 3 for an answer of 4. If you ever multiply by a fraction, the number gets smaller, that's no exaggeration. So just think when you try and have a go that you're asking, what's a small part of the whole? So multiply the numbers on the top side together. Whatever the solution, it becomes the numerator. Now multiply the numbers on the bottom side together, and the answer that we get is now the new denominator.
Okay, welcome back, and let's have problem number 1. Jaime had 15 meters of wire. He used 2/5 of this to his bedroom. How many meters of wire did she use? This is an example of a non-routine problem. To solve this problem, we have to follow the steps. The first one, understand. Second one, plan. The third, solve, and the last one is check and look back. We have to understand the problem. What is asked in the problem? And what are the given facts? What is asked in the problem is the number of meters of wire that Jaime used. And the given facts are 15 meters of wire. He used 2/5 of this to his bedroom. We are now done in step number 1. So let's proceed to step number 2. because we already have the given facts and we already identify what is asked in the problem. The next one, the plan. We have to know what operation is to be used and what is the number sentence. This kind of problem, the mathematical operation that we are going to use is multiplication in order to know the number of meters of wire that Jaime used. So now, let's make a number sentence. That is 15 times 2/5. Let's recall the rule in multiplying fractions and whole numbers. As we can see here, we will multiply a fraction and a whole number. So what are the steps in multiplying a fraction and a whole number? First thing to do is to convert your whole number into a fraction by putting number 1 below 15. So that is 15 over 1. So we will multiply fraction and a whole number, which is 15 over 1. 2/5 times 15 over 1 equals, let's have multiply the numerator. 2 times 15 is 30. And the second one, multiply the denominators. We have 5 times 1 equals 5. So the answer is 30 over 5. Is this your final answer? No, because this is an improper fraction. An improper fraction can be simplified by dividing the numerator by the denominator. We have 30 divided by 5. 30 divided by 5 is 6. So, your answer is 6 meters. Your final answer is Jaime used 6 meters of wire in his bedroom. Let's proceed to the last step. We have to check and look back. We have to check if our answer here is correct. If your answer makes sense. How can we check and look back? We can do the opposite operation. What is the opposite operation of multiplication? We have division. So, we are going to divide 6 divided by 15. We have to divide your answer, which is 6, by 15. And let's check if the answer is 2/5. In this case, let's divide your answer, which is 6, by your whole number, which is 15. And let's check if the answer is 2/5. But instead of getting the answer, which is expressed in a decimal number, we have to express it in a fractional form by finding their GCF. What is the GCF of 6 and 15? So we have 3. So let's divide 6 and 15 by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 15 divided by 3 is 5. Your answer is 2/5. Is it the right fraction? Let us check. Okay, so 2/5 means your 6 here is the correct answer. So 6 meters of wire. We have problem number 2. Rowena had 4 meters long of ribbon. She gave 2/4 meter of ribbon to her teacher and 1/4 meter to her classmate to decorate their English classroom. What part of the ribbon was given to them all? This is an example of a non-routine problem. So let's have step number 1. We have to understand what is asked in the problem. So the part of the ribbon that was given to them all. And what are the given facts? We have 4 meters long of ribbon. She gave 2/4 meter of ribbon to her teacher and 1/4 meter to her classmate to decorate the English classroom. We already done the step number 1, which is to understand. So this time let's proceed to step number 2, which is a plan. Based from the problem, we have to know what mathematical operation or operations we are going to use. In this case, we have addition and multiplication, because we need to add the number of meters that she gave to her teacher and the number of meters that she gave to her classmate. So we have to add and multiply. What is the number sentence? So the number sentence is 2/4 plus 1/4. We have to add the two fractions. We have 2/4 plus 1/4. So the two fractions are similar fractions, so we have to add the numerators. 2 plus 1 is 3, and copy the common denominator, which is 4. So your answer is 3/4. And then we have to multiply your answer to 4 in order to know the part of the ribbon that was given to them. So we have to multiply 4 times 3/4. 4 times 3/4. We have to put 1 below 4 because we need to change the whole number into a fraction. So that is 4 over 1 times 3/4. And let's proceed the step in multiplying fractions. We have to multiply the numerators. 4 times 3 is 12. 1 times 4 is 4. And of course, we have to simplify the answer. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. So the answer is 3 meters. Your final answer is Rowena gave 3 meters of ribbon to them. And now let's have to check if your answer is correct. We have to form a fraction by putting 3 in the numerator and 4 in the denominator. Let's recall the basic concept of fraction, that your numerator is the part of the whole and the denominator is the whole itself. So let's have 3 over 4, and we have to subtract it by any fraction, whether 2/4 or 1/4. So let's have 3/4 minus 1/4. So 3 minus 1 is 2, and copy the common denominator, which is 4. So your answer is 2/4. Is it the correct fraction? Okay, yes. So your answer here, which is 3, is correct. Okay, we are now done with our lesson for today, and thank you so much for watching, and I know that you learned something today. I hope that you will never forget on how to multiply or how to solve routine and non-routine problems involving multiplication of fractions and whole numbers. Before I say goodbye, I would like you to say I love math, I love myself, I love Math TV Lessons channel. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye!